Hey everyone, in this video, I want to share with you why having multiple personalities is better than one for communicating and why you have to release a specific one every time that you present or communicate. Let's take a look. So the first idea that I want to introduce is that we don't have one personality in our everyday lives, but we actually have multiple. What I mean by this is the following. When you're at work, for example, you're maybe more logical, more efficient. When you're at home with the family, you're maybe more empathetic, you're more caring, and so on. So in different contexts in life, we release different personalities. So we live under this illusion that we are always the same person, but in reality, we have different personalities that come to light under different circumstances. So many communication problems, from being monotonic to hesitating in a sale to not being persuasive, all come from the same root, which is you have the same personality before the communication and in everyday life as you do have during that communication. What I mean by this is the following. The best presenters, they change when they come on stage or when they start a negotiation. They go through some sort of activation ritual. They become a different person, they step up, there's just something that changes within them. And everybody else does not do this. They just think, whatever it is that I'm doing and whatever it is that I'm feeling, I'm going to bring that exact same personality to the presentation or the communication. In other words, you may already have multiple personalities, but you think that you have one. You're fooling yourself into pretending that you are always the same person. And because of this, you don't give yourself the permission to be more dynamic, to be more aggressive, to be more shrewd, and to have all of these qualities that you would have if you just gave yourself permission to be someone else, if you will. So you may ask, what are some techniques to perform this activation, to become somebody else when you step on stage or in any negotiation or sale? And usually there are three main techniques. The first is you want to turn up your actual personality. The second is you want to have an alter ego of some sort. And the third is to just become anonymous. So let's take a look at each one of these in order. So the first technique is you want to turn up your personality. And it's something that, for example, YouTubers actually do. That is, whatever personality traits you already have, you want to maximize them. So for example, if you are funny but a little bit weird, then you want to be very funny and very weird. Or for example, if you're very polite, but also you show a little bit of emotion, you want to be very polite, but also show a lot of emotion. In other words, you are taking who you already are and almost becoming like the cartoon version of it. You don't need to go to an extreme, but you want to manifest those traits in a more distinct manner, because otherwise you are just going to seem the same communicator as everybody else, and your personality is really not going to stand out. In other words, people are not going to see your personality traits unless they are obvious, so you have to emphasize them. Most of the people who communicate for a living do this in everyday life. So for example, actors or musicians, whenever they're about to act or to sing or whatever it is, they turn up their personality or the personality that they're currently embodying so that it becomes more obvious. The specific traits of that personality become more emphasized to the person who is watching them. The second technique is to have an alter ego. And there's a whole book on this by Todd Herman called The Alter Ego Effect, which is an amazing book. But in other words, what happens is the following. When you have a certain personality, there may be things that you don't give yourself permission to do, right? For example, if you're very polite and stiff, maybe you don't give yourself permission to be reckless and emotional. So what you do is you create an alter ego who is somebody else completely with those characteristics that you don't give yourself permission to have. The most common example in a lot of movies are superheroes, right? You have the person who is very humble and very polite by day, and they're a superhero by night. And the personality that they have as the superhero is completely different. Because what they do is they take all of the characteristics that they're repressing, that they think that it's just not me, and they push them into the alter ego. So they allow themselves to shift into the alter ego at the start of this presentation or communication or whatever it is, and then it takes control. And it's a completely different personality. In a way, it's like you're constructing this character and then just allowing yourself to shift into that character. So one example was an interview that I saw with a singer. I think it was Pitbull at the time, who, in his character as a singer is very basic, like going out at night, Mr. Worldwide and international and etc. And then I saw this interview and he was talking in a very sophisticated tone and saying, yes, this character that I needed to create in order to appeal to the public. And I was thinking, what? That's a different person right here. That's a completely different person. And that's when I realized If you can have this contrast between who you are and this character that you create, then you allow yourself to embody those characteristics. And it can be completely different day and night. There are a lot of performers, marketers, actors, and so on, where the image that you see of them during this specific movie or communication or presentation or talk, that specific fragment is completely different from their everyday personality. But what they do is they allow themselves to really embody that character just for the short duration of time. It's an activation. You go on stage, you're a completely different person. You walk off stage, you're back to normal, if you will. So that's what a character or an alter ego allows you to do. You can take all of these characteristics that you think that don't belong to you, you can dump them into another personality, and then you give yourself permission to become that somebody else. And the third and final technique is to become anonymous. That is, you've probably heard of situations where people are just in the group or they're in a mob, and what they can do as a group versus what they have the courage to do in person is completely different. When people know that they're not being watched or judged, they just become wild, and they do a lot of things that they would not do if it were associated with them in person. A great example of this is online forums and so on. If you can become anonymous behind your handle, you can say some pretty wild things that you would never say if you had your identity associated with it. So a great technique is to consider yourself anonymous when you walk on stage or during this negotiation or whatever it is. You literally detach from your real world identity. You are nobody, and because you are nobody, you can do whatever you want, because you are not tied to your actual identity. And because it's not you who is taking action, but this anonymous person, you can do whatever you want, because there are no consequences. Or there may be, but your mindset is that there are no consequences. But in general terms, and I know that I always come back to this, but it's true, it's all about mental permission. That is, you have to give yourself mental permission to just embody that personality when you walk on stage or when this sales call or negotiation begins. If you don't give yourself that mental permission, you are going to be resisting and you are going to be hesitant. So all of these techniques that I'm mentioning are just rituals to really give yourself that permission to shift into someone else. And then that someone else can take care of the job. So to summarize the key points, we all have multiple personalities in life. We think that we are one person, but actually we are multiple. And this is good for communication because you can select what type of personality you want to let out to communicate, and you can let that personality out when it's time to communicate or to negotiate. When you walk on stage, when you walk into a call, whatever it is. There are usually 3 major techniques to achieve this. You can take your current personality and just turn it up by 200%. You can have an alter ego where you dump all of the characteristics that you don't give yourself permission to be, and then you can shift into that alter ego. Or finally, you can become anonymous. You can think that nobody's watching, that there are no consequences, and because of that, you are free to do whatever you want. But remember, at the end of the day, whatever you do, it's all about mental permission. You have to find a way to give yourself permission to be the person that you need to be in real time. Otherwise, you're going to be resistant, you are going to be hesitating, and you are not going to allow yourself to let out the traits that you need to have in order to negotiate, to persuade, to pitch, or whatever it is in life. If you've enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. And don't forget to check out the channel because we have multiple playlists and videos regarding communication, negotiation, sales, persuasion in general, and a lot more. Thank you so much for watching.